Welcome back to Wartime Cafe. I'm your host, Laith Marouf, and you are watching Free Palestine TV. I ask you to press the subscribe button on whatever social media platform you're watching this on, and to go to our website, freepalestine.video, to donate so we can continue bringing you this content. Today we have a new guest with us, Dr Ali Qazan, and we are in a new location on the waterfront of Lebanon. You can hear and see the sea behind me. Dr. Ali, welcome to Wartime Cafe. Thank you for giving us your time here.
Thank you for having me.
Ali, usually when we start with a new guest on Wartime Cafe, we ask some of the personal information so our audience can get to know you. You are from the south of Lebanon, from the village of Taibe.
Yes.
And you've lived there in your childhood?
No, actually my parents and grandparents were displaced during the 80s from Taibe to Beirut suburbs, southern suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
And some of my uncles went to other countries and worked there. Some of them came back, others stayed out of Lebanon in foreign countries. So my childhood was in Beirut suburbs, in what is currently known as Tahwitat al-Ghadir.
And the whole family went back, I guess, after the liberation in 2000?
Yeah, after the liberation, we went to Taibe constantly, mostly in the summers, in the weekends, on vacations. And during when I was writing my dissertation for the PhD, I decided that because I'm coming back to Lebanon soon, that I would move my furniture, my whole library that I collected for 23 years. I was planning to go to Taibe, and to go and live there. Maybe 2 months after we moved to Taibe, this came 7th of October, and we left Taibe for thinking that we're coming back in a few days. Unfortunately, we didn't take anything from our house, and we came back to find it, what do we call in Lebanon, a football field.
It's leveled to the ground.
Yeah, it was demolished, and we had to move back to Khaldi now.
So for the viewers that don't know, Taibe is just behind Kafar Kila, on the border. So it's like a second line village.
2 to 3 kilometers from the border.
Yes, and that whole like triangle, Taibe, Adaise, Kafar Kila, was bombarded heavily, and
yes,
the Israeli military went into Taibe and the other villages and during the ceasefire and destroyed those. I think I forgot to tell everybody that you're a PhD doctor in Persian language and literature.
Yes.
And that's where you're living in Iran during your studies. Yes. And you decided to come back. This unfortunate timing. And it's good that we laugh about these things. Obviously, in Arabic we say Sharul Baliyati ma yudhik. Yes, the worst of afflictions is the one that makes you laugh. And it's a way to cope with these things. But you're growing up in the Dahiya and eventually going back to Taibe after 2000. How did this childhood and young adulthood shape your vision? How did you even come to study Farsi and literature and language? What actually inspired you to do so? What made you have that passion to go that path of literature in Persian?
I have to say lots of details here. So first, growing up in Dahiya, we were kids and we always felt that it's our obligation, it's our duty to do something to liberate our country from the Israeli occupation. So we used to watch TV, watch some military operations that the resistance did, and we were always excited about participating in this resistance. So some of us, as kids, some of us had the chance of doing this. Some of us took the cultural path. So, but as kids, we always went to carpenters, and we picked pieces of wood and glued them together as guns. So our preferred game was this: fighting with wooden guns.
Cowboys and Indians.
Yes.
But we were the Indians, obviously.
Yeah. We hope that we don't get exterminated. Afterwards, when we grew up, it was really a dream come true that I remember that I was in the last secondary year. The official exam was coming up, and on the 25th of May came the liberation of the South, and really it was a dream come true. And we didn't believe what we heard until we saw it with our own eyes. So, and it was a great experience to go back and see our village and our relatives that we only heard about before. Even visit our grandparents' graves and listen to the people, what they suffered, to the freed prisoners. All this was a great experience, and one of the best experiences was that we had the chance to see Palestine with our own eyes, not through the lens.
Yes.
We went to the border and saw Palestine, and we saw some of the Israeli soldiers that were on the border. I myself felt that they were so ridiculous and so small. You know, when you see the Israeli army through the lens, the media, the TV, they always try to make them very powerful, very big, strong soldiers. But when you see them eye to eye, you feel their weakness. You really see how small they are.
There's definitely a huge propaganda effort to, you know, burn in the mind of the Arabic peoples and Muslim peoples that these are the chosen people. They're the best at everything. They're the best lawyers. They're the best comedians. They're the best soldiers. They're the best spies. And of course, that's all contrary to reality and an effort to instill that Jewish supremacy in the minds of our people. So yes, they're very minuscule and small when you actually see them face to face.
Indeed.
I'm sorry to cut you off there.
I'll just tell you one scene, one story, and we can move on to another subject. And that is, I was once near the border in a place called al-Abbad. I don't know how to describe it, but it's called al-Abbad. So there's
like a hill.
There's a tomb right on the border, I expect. And there was a guy maybe 17 or 16 years old, holding the yellow flag, so the Israeli soldier was on the other side of the tomb, and this guy was standing here, and he put the flag right in the middle, so the flag was flapping and slapping the soldier's face. He was so, this guy had nothing, just the flag, and the other guy was with weapons and communications and stuff, helmet. But he was so brave. He came through and put the flag there, and it was a great scene.
I think that shrine in Al-Abbad is now destroyed because the Israelis destroyed it right now during this
Maybe
war.
because of this guy.
they have a real hate for archaeological sites, religious sites, even ones that may have been connected to Judaism, as the shrine of Prophet Benjamin, and they see these shrines and archaeological sites as reaffirmation of our relationship to the land. So even if it's connected somehow to Judaism, they'd rather destroy it than have that connection that we have to this land. So you went back in 2000, and then how did that lead you to decide to study Persian literature?
Well, as I told you before, that I was moved and affected by the culture of the resistance. So naturally, I had a very idealistic and positive view of Iran and the Islamic Revolution. I was particularly attached and tied to the mystic literature of Imam Khomeini. So I always, when I read his books, I always dreamt of the spiritual experiences that a person might have when they take this path towards Allah. So I decided to study religion at first, and I went there with this intent. After a couple of years, after I learned the language, I started translating books and essays, and I felt that this language is so rich in culture and poetry, and you need to understand it deeply. You can't just learn the language and go ahead and translate books. When I finished my bachelor's, I saw how this literature was depicting spiritual and ethical and religious concepts in the most beautiful way, in stories, in poetry, in many books that are, for example, even in Shahnameh, the epic literature. So I decided to go through with this till the end, and that's why I continued studying until I
Got a
graduated.
PhD.
Yeah, graduated as a PhD.
So at first you studied at seminary in Qom for 10 years, right?
Yeah, 7 to 10 years. Yeah.
7 to 10 years. And obviously a lot of people that are not Muslim or Shia don't understand how most Muslims, whether Shia or Sunni, are Sufi, mystic, and how that plays into literature.
Yes.
There's a lot of people in the West that read Rumi, for instance, and most probably their experience of Rumi is not the same because they don't read Persian, right? And we know how poetry,
it's so hard to translate.
It's so hard to translate. So this path from reading the spiritual, mystic, religiosity, how do you feel that brought you into poetry and literature? Like, do you see this connection in your mind, and that's, maybe describe it for somebody that doesn't understand this jump from religiosity to poetry?
There's a very fascinating things about Persian or Iranian poets in general. I'm talking about the traditional poetry. And that is these poets or these writers are originally or previously scientists and scholars, to be precise. Some of them may have studied and taught for example, 15 years. Or someone like Saadi has been traveling in various countries and teaching in various schools for 20 years before he got back to Shiraz and wrote his book known as Golistan. Someone like Hafiz, for example, who is a very famous poet in Iran, has memorized the whole Quran. Rumi or Jalaluddin also was a scholar and the son of a scholar. He moved from Balkh, a city maybe now in Afghanistan, I presume, to Konya eventually.
In what is now Turkey?
Yes. There he was also previously was a scholar, a traditional scholar. He went to the mosque, he led prayers, he taught religion, and he was one of a high rank. So people respected him very much, and he was very traditional. But later on, all this knowledge, he poured all his knowledge in this frame, in the poetry. So, in general, Iranian or Persian poets are very knowledgeable people, are scholars that are one of their kind. So naturally, when you have the great content and the great frame put together, this gives you a fascinating work of literature. So many of the literary works in Iran are considered global masterpieces.
Mm-hmm. And you're coming from Lebanese Arabic background, and obviously Arabic language has a lot of emphasis on poetry, and in a way the musicality of the Quran plays also a part in how we write Arabic and or poetry and music in Arabic. How do you compare those two traditions, poetry and literature in Arabic, from the same age of the golden age of Islam, to that literature and poetry in Persian that you studied in your PhD?
So it is vastly known that in the Persian poetry has took the poetic meter from the Arabic poetry. Of course, they modified it to fit their needs and to fit their language. They have many versions of the the Arabic poetic meter, so it's not exactly the same. But it originated from this poetic meter. But the Arabic poetry doesn't contain the religious or mystic or Quranic culture as does the Persian poetry, the Persian literature in general. As far as I know, I'm not claiming to be an expert in Arabic literature. Yeah. This is my view of the subject.
Why do you think Persian poetry, like Rumi, Jalaluddin Rumi, got this international
attention
in comparison to the greats of Arabic poetry?
I tend to think that the Iranians or Persians invested their whole civilization and culture in Islam. I don't know if the Arabs did the same. I doubt it. So, as you know, the Persian culture is very old, many thousands of years, and they have conquered and experienced many cultures. So they invested all this knowledge, this old knowledge, their civilization, their art, even their art of masonry or painting. They invested it all in Islam. So this is not our subject, but on the side, this proves that Islam wasn't forced on Iranians, because they have done so much for Islam that cannot be done against a person's will. So in my opinion, this is what differentiates Iranian literature and Persian literature in precise from other literatures. They invested their whole culture and civilization in their literature, and when they adopted Islam, they fully accepted they fully accepted it and gave it to the world in a very beautiful picture.
You also play judo, right?
Yeah.
And for a long time. So in a way, when we're talking about these, writers of old that had all these other knowledge, being scientists, other than being a poet, and being a warrior, other than being a poet, you seem to be trying to, fill that by playing judo, by being going to seminaries and studying Islam for long, and then studying literature. Do you feel this, judo adds to your completeness as an individual?
We as human beings have two dimensions: the physical dimensions, our bodies, and the spiritual dimension, or the metaphysical dimension, which is our spirit and mind. And in order to achieve real progress, we have to work on both. We can't work on one and neglect the other. So this is not something, in my opinion, this is not something special. This is the natural thing to do. But even special warriors or honorable warriors have always worked on their culture as well as their martial arts. So, for example, in Japan, you will find that samurai or other warriors have worked on music, on even preparing tea in a very special way, or on calligraphy, and they know their culture. They have a code of honor, and they are very great with the warriors with the sword and without weapons. So in hand-to-hand combat. So every human being should work on both sides, on the physical side, on the spiritual side. This is the natural thing to do.
So when did you start judo?
I started judo about 10 years before, but before that too, during my childhood I went to karate classes. Later on I practiced karate for many years, and other sports, and in general I was athletic.
So now you're a black belt in judo?
Yes, I was a black belt in judo.
So you're a judo master, basically.
Maybe. I don't know.
You
I
do.
can't compare myself to masters.
Yeah, but you do train other people.
Yeah, beginners.
Yes, and let's talk about this. How your time in Iran, studying both Islam in the seminary and then studying culture and literature of Iran, Persian. How does this, this knowledge of the Iranian culture and peoples and their way of thinking spiritually, how would you compare it to being here in Lebanon, the spirit of the Lebanese people, or how they view the world? Do you feel that your time in Iran gave you a different perspective?
Yeah, the Iranian society and culture is very different from the Lebanese culture. Usually people, when they go there for a visit for a couple of days, they come back with maybe a negative experience in general.
Why would it be
so it is very, very hard to judge Iranian people based on spending maybe a week in Iran. Because their life, their public life, is very different from their private life. When you meet a person in a shop or in the market or in a taxi car, for example, he will put on a very professional face. For example, some of my friends used to go to shops and buy things, and the shopkeeper would insist on paying the precise amount. For example, even if it is a negligible change, and they would say that the Iranians are very cheap and stingy. Because in Lebanon, it's
you can haggle on the price.
Aside from haggling, people here give discounts on the fly.
Because they've already pumped up the price very high.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons. But when you go to this guy's home, to exactly this guy who told you that he can't give you any discount, you will find out that he is very generous. He is a very hospitable person. Even one of the stories that my friends told me, the ones that were before me in Iran, he said, I went to this shop and bought some stuff, some groceries, for example, for $6.1, for example. And the shopkeeper insisted on paying the $0.1. He told him that I don't have change. It's a negligible amount. You can just let it go. And he would say, no, you have to pay the full amount. In half a minute later or seconds later, there was a car passing by collecting donations. So this guy took out the whole drawer full of money and went to that donations car and emptied it and came back and once again insisted on paying the full amount. So this tells you how different شو بيقولوا كيف بيفصلوا الاشياء عن بعض.
They separate.
Yeah, they separate their public life, their professional life very strictly from their private life, from their friendships and family relationships. Another one is false pride, false
ego.
No, false self-confidence. Okay. And you would say that they don't have anything to be proud about, and they shouldn't be like this. But this, in my opinion, this gave them a very good head start on other nations, and it led them to a high rank in the world, because they, even if they had nothing to depend on or to build on, they would put their trust in themselves and say, no, we can do this, whatever it is, even if it's false pride. And they achieved a lot of things with this mentality. Later on, when I studied the epic poetry, the Shahnameh, I really understood this pride. Where does it come from? You see, things that happen in the past never go away, even if it happened thousands of years ago. Things get diluted in the personality, in the culture, and in the daily living. And I believe that Iranians haven't lost their civilization or country or culture by the changes that came through the years. On the contrary, they have collected and compressed this whole experience in the present culture, in the present society.
So, you spoke about culture and art, and you did sports while you were there with Judo. How would you compare the Arabic culture here in Lebanon in terms of their space given to arts, culture, and sports in comparison to your experience in Iran? Because we just kind of spoke to art, but how about sports? How does this come together?
So now I think in Lebanon there's a kind of a boom in the fitness industry, as they call it. But I don't think that it is deep-rooted in our culture yet. And we don't have a traditional sport, for example. Maybe in some villages they lift some rocks called al-Juron, a traditional pottery.
It's the Juron is the grinding rock where you grind stuff?
I think it's a kind of, what do you call it? A pot,
yes,
made from rock. From rock,
yes.
carved in the rock.
And then you can crush stuff in it. And
maybe, yeah, for example. So it's heavy. So the ones who lift it are presumably strong. Maybe this kind of sport, maybe the games that kids used to play in neighborhoods. But other than that, I can't remember a traditional sport. Not in Lebanon, not in other countries.
There's only one thing. But we haven't. This is a big problem in terms of how you're describing that of having pride in things that or continuing a history of things. The swords and shield. I'm sure you've seen in Syria, in weddings.
Yeah, it's a folklore.
Yes, but this whole dance with the swords and shields is very similar to how Aikido or other sports, martial arts happen in the East. But we haven't, and there's a school for it. There's moves, certain moves that you have to do and certain shielding and so on with these swords. But unfortunately, because Arabic people almost hate themselves, they haven't made this into a school like Aikido or something like that. But yeah, there is, unfortunately, we haven't systemized it.
Yes, this is what I meant by traditional sport. Something that has clubs everywhere in the country, for example. Something that has instructors and put in a system and that you can practice, that it may even have competition in on some occasions. But if you go to Iran, you'll find something called Zurkhana, which is a very traditional sport practiced in the whole country. Every Iranian province has several Zurkhana gyms, so to say. And in these clubs, Zurkhana clubs, they have. I'm sure your viewers will search and find it on YouTube or other platforms. It is a very interesting sport. It's full of ethics. There is.
Is it like a martial arts?
It is a.
Wrestling?
No, it's not wrestling. It is martial fitness, to be precise. So they do some kind of push-ups and heavy clubs and such. But the way they do it, before entering the pit, they have someone called the murshid, or the instructor. First they ask for permission to enter the pit. After they enter it, they have a leader, and there's always someone sitting outside the pit with a drum and reciting poetry in a very musical and beautiful way, and usually they have very beautiful sounds. And this poetry usually is talking about the heroism of Imam Ali, and they mention virtues and the ethics in a very beautiful way. So the people that are training in the pit, they are always hearing this kind of literary, of music, and order. This is
and the rhythm of actions is what going with the music and the
exactly. It is a very beautiful sport, a traditional sport. Even the clothing is traditional. The tools they use are traditional. The masonry of the club, the decor of the club is traditional. So their culture is preserved through many things. And the whole atmosphere, the leader, the poetry, the music, the clothing, the building they are training in, they are all mixed with their own culture. This is what I mean by a traditional sport.
So the Aqsa flood started. You just arrived back from Iran, and you lost all your furniture and books in your village al-Taibe. You spent the whole war here?
No, I was there. I came 6 months or so after the 7th of October, and went back to finish my studies, and then came back after the ceasefire.
So you lived part of the war here, and then were you there during the 12-day war with Iran?
No, I was back in Lebanon.
Back in Lebanon. So what would you say in terms of the cohesion of a society during such a traumatic event as these wars? Before the Aqsa flood, there was all those colored revolutions attempted by the West in Iran, specifically around the issue of the hijab and women not putting the hijab on. Most probably the Zionists were expecting that this will play a part in the war of weakening the government of Iran and its resilience. So, but it was a big surprise that actually that didn't happen, that there was no internal problems happening during that 12-day war for the Iranian government. Why would you say there was this coming together in Iran during this war?
For Iranians, every disputes or differences should be kept inside the country and should be solved among each other, even if it is if it goes to a long way. But when it comes to enemies from outside the country, all Iranians become one and to defend their own country, and they have a general awareness. I don't think that they can be deceived easily by the American compassion and the Israeli compassion and the Europeans, because they every day of their lives they are facing difficulties in for example in some kinds of medicine and some kinds of technology, because of the siege of the sanctions that are put on Iran. They know what the other countries are doing to them, to the people, not to the government, and they understand that other countries are not looking for the Iranians' interests. They are looking for their own interests, and they are educated people. They understand a lot what is going on in the world. They have seen Syria, other Arab countries. They have seen Ukraine. They have seen what has happened in Gaza, and they understand if they aren't strong enough, they will be attacked. Their country will be pulled apart into pieces, and I think they are not ready to do this yet. They will stand their ground to keep their country.
For years they were using the West this idea about the hijab and women not wearing the hijab as an excuse to create a lot of propaganda outside. Of course, the Iranian society, like the rest of the world, was open to the internet, and generations of youth were fed this propaganda from the West about freedom of speech and women's rights and children's rights and so on. And as you said, most of the world, including Iranians, saw what those freedoms mean with the destruction of Syria and its culture and history, and the genocide broadcasted from Gaza and the destruction of Lebanon. Just last week, the Iranian government lifted any restrictions on the hijab, wearing or not wearing. Do you feel that the coming together of the population during this war allowed the government in Iran to feel that lifting this ban would not harm it anymore, that it's not anymore an external issue? There's no more external pressures on Iran to deal with the hijab issue, but that now Iran feels comfortable, its population is immune to playing this game from the outside of colored revolutions, that it decided to do so right now?
So in Iran, I think that their scholars and their elite understand that the case of hijab and other similar cases are not things to be forced on people. You can't force something on, for example, 90% of the people. it has to be a cultural and educational effort. There has to be some kind of educational effort. And people must be convinced that this is the right thing for them or not. And during this war, I think everybody, those who are religious, those who wear hijab or don't wear hijab, those who are pro-government or anti-government, everybody understood the value of the other. The people understood the value of the military understood the value of every kind, every group or every culture, every section, everybody in the country. They don't. The discrimination now is in very low levels, if I may say. And going back to Iranian culture, they always valued the loyalty for the leader or for the king. And this is not something just inherited from ancestors. No, this is something that they have experienced. They understand that if they are not loyal to their leader or to their king, this means that they will become weak and they will be infiltrated and took apart to pieces. This is something also present in their mind, and they are aware that if they don't become one and don't stay one and don't help each other and value each other, it will be destructive for them.
You know, there was a lot of propaganda from the West and the Gulf monarchs that are all tools of the West, directed towards the Iranian population, trying to talk about how the support of Iran to Hezbollah or Axis of Resistance members and resistance in general, or Palestine and Gaza, is costing the Iranian people and making their life worse. That if only they give up support for Palestine and the oppressed peoples in the region, that their life would be much better. And it was working somehow, this propaganda. And how do you see now? I mean, you were there, you speak to the Iranian people, you must have seen a change or a shift in this attitude. If there was that attitude on the streets, do you feel Iranian people now understand how their leaders and government why are they supporting the oppressed and Palestine?
So, generally, Iranian people have a Islamic culture. And in Islam, you have to support your oppressed brother. When others attack Muslims and oppress them, take their land, you have to support them, whether it's Iranian, Lebanese, Syrian, or whatever. And this is actually something that we have even in international law. Nobody has the right to attack another country, take its land, and oppress its people. So you can't have double standards. For example, when Saddam Hussein attacked Iran and took land, Iranians wouldn't have accepted that Saddam Hussein bring his own people into Iranian land and call it Iraq. And the same must happen with Palestine. They can't accept that some other third party come to Palestine and take the land and call it their own. So you have they have this standard and they have to abide by it, as everybody should, as the international law says. I think that when you accept oppression and occupation for other countries, you are indirectly accepting it for yourself. and your turn will come sooner or later.
So the Iranian people themselves on the streets, suffering from sanctions and blockade by the West, do you feel right now they understand more why their government is supporting the resistance?
They have seen with their own eyes that the Israelis don't discriminate between Iranians. They don't say, for example, this building has civilians and military, we shouldn't target civilians. No, they targeted civilians, they targeted hospitals. And just they did what they did everywhere, what they did in Lebanon, in Palestine, elsewhere in Yemen. They have heard about Israel before and how brutal it is, and they have seen it with their own eyes. They were supporting resistance when they used to hear about the Israeli brutality. Now, do you think that after they have seen it with their own eyes, they will stop supporting the resistance? It's illogical to do that.
Ali Qazan, Dr. Ali Qazan, professor of Farsi literature and language. Thank you very much for being with us. We hope to host you one more time and maybe even go with you down on the field to check on Taibeh and your home, and inshallah all of it will be rebuilt. This is Laith Marouf, your host for Wartime Cafe. I ask you to press the subscribe button on whatever social media platform you're watching this on one more time, and to go to our website, freepalestine.video, to donate so we can continue bringing you this content. Behind the camera is Hadi. We wish you all a free Palestine and a free Lebanon.